Thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and check out my Instagram for cool science and not science stuff. Welcome back to Biomechanics on Catalyst University. My name is Kevin Tokoph. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for future videos and notifications. In this video, we're going to really focus on understanding a positive Trendelenburg sign or a Trendelenburg stance. And to do that, we're first going to look at a couple pictures. We're then going to take a look at an actual video of somebody with a Trendelenburg sign, and then we'll delve into a little more detail and really attempt to understand this. When we consider what's normal versus a positive Trendelenburg sign, we're considering the hip abductors shown right here. Those are gluteus minimus and gluteus medius. The more important of the two is the latter, gluteus medius, so that's what I'll be referring to for the rest of this video, but they both contribute. Now let's first take a look at normal and understand that when we're looking at normal versus a Trendelenburg sign, we're looking at either when the person is standing on one leg or during gait in the phases where they're in single leg support. So obviously if this person is walking, they're in right single leg support right here. Normally throughout gait, the pelvis does rotate a little bit in all three planes, depending on which leg is forward, which leg is back. We get rotation in the frontal plane, the sagittal plane, and the transverse plane. We're not going to go into the details there, but for this, we're really concerned about that frontal plane shift. So take a look at this case where it's normal. This person is in right single leg support. So assuming that we've got a healthy gluteus medius muscle and the nerve that innervates it, the superior gluteal nerve, is healthy, what should happen is actually the right side here, that is the side that's in single leg support, should actually have a slight drop, and the contralateral side, the side in swing, should have a slight elevation. Now when we talk about these pelvic rotations during gait, they really should be no more than about 5 degrees. Okay, that's not very much. It does rotate a little bit, but not much. So as you can see here, only slight left and right pelvic tilt. When we compare that to a positive Trendelenburg sign, we see a significant deviation from those 5 degrees of normalcy. So the key with a positive Trendelenburg sign is you're going to have either a weak gluteus medius or some kind of lesion or damage to the nerve that innervates it, the superior gluteal nerve. And so whatever side that weakness or lesion is on, you're going to see the Trendelenburg sign when that limb is in single limb support. So in this case right here, either this right gluteus medius is weak or the right superior gluteal nerve is lesioned. And so when that person is in right single limb stance or single limb support, you're going to see that same side elevate up, and then the contralateral side is actually going to drop. So the side that's in swing phase, which is contralateral, is going to drop. Let's look at another positive Trendelenburg, but it's the opposite side. So now we'll suppose that it's left gluteus medius weakness or a left superior gluteal nerve lesion or damage. Now the person to see this would have to be in left single limb support like you see here. And again, the side that's in stance, which is the side that has the lesion or the weakness, that side elevates, and then the contralateral side, which is in swing, is going to drop. And again, notice that significant deviation from normal tilt and rotation. This is much bigger than 5 degrees. So let's look at a video of this in real life, and then we'll take a look at some more details and really understand why this happens. This individual is going to have left gluteus medius weakness, or it's a lesion to the superior gluteal nerve on the left side. So again, left damage. And so what I want you to watch is when she's in left single limb support and that right side is in the air, it's in swing, you're going to see the left side come up and the right side is going to drop a little bit. And I've slowed this down so we can take a good look at this. And the way you'll see it is it'll almost manifest as the left side kind of protrudes out towards the left laterally. It's very subtle, but you should have been able to see that while her left limb is planted on the ground and the right limb is in the air and swing, there's an excessive left pelvic elevation and right pelvic drop. So that is characteristic of a positive Trendelenburg sign. Now let's take a look at this in a little more detail and really understand why this is happening. Because we normally think of these muscles, which are the gluteus medius, as being hip abductors. You can even perform hip abduction right now, you can imagine it. And when you think about that movement, your femur, that is basically your lower extremity, is mobile and your pelvis is static, right? But when we think of this in terms of gait and single limb support, it's actually reversed. So now the pelvis is actually mobile and the femur, or the lower extremity, is static, which makes sense. The lower extremity is now in single limb support. So that's static and the pelvis is mobile. So we're no longer thinking about this in terms of hip abduction. We're actually thinking about this in terms of stabilizing the pelvis. And the way that the pelvis is stabilized by each of these muscles is actually that the pelvis is actually pulled down toward the lower extremity. So the right gluteus medius here, when we're in right single limb support or single limb stance, its job is to put tension on this half of the pelvis and pull it down to stabilize it. When the left limb is in single limb support, the left gluteus medius pulls on the left half of the pelvis, pulls it down to stabilize it. So understanding that, for this little animation here, we're going to assume the person is in right single limb support. Their left limb is in swing, so they're on their right foot. So what would happen if we had weakness of the right gluteus medius or a lesion of the right superior gluteal nerve? Well, remember, the job of this muscle is to pull that right half of the pelvis downwards to stabilize it during right single limb stance. So if this muscle's weak, it's not going to be able to hold that half of the pelvis down. If this nerve is lesioned, well, same result. The muscle's not going to be able to contract as much and pull that right half of the pelvis down. So watch what's going to happen if this right gluteus medius, by whatever mechanism, cannot function. It can't hold the right half of the pelvis down during right single limb stance. So what happens? That side of the pelvis comes up and the other side just happens to drop as a result. Let's take a look at that again. We have either weakness of the right gluteus medius muscle or we have a lesion of that nerve on the right side. Again, that muscle can't function to sort of hold that half of the pelvis down while you're on stance on that side. And as a result, that side comes up and the other side comes down. Again, this is what we see here. Hopefully everything has come full circle. So when we're looking at a Trendelenburg sign, okay, we need to understand which side the weakness is on. In this example, the weakness is on the right side, whether it be due to intrinsic weakness of the muscle or a lesion of that nerve. And so always we get ipsilateral pelvic elevation when we're standing on that limb. So if it's the right side that's damaged or weak, and we stand on the right side in single limb support, that side is going to elevate, and then the other side, the contralateral side, is going to drop. Again, let's just end by taking one more look at this animation. And hopefully after this, you understand why we see a Trendelenburg sign when we have gluteus medius weakness or a lesion of that superior gluteal nerve. Hopefully this video made sense to you. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for future videos and notifications. Thank you.